Shut up and sit down.
Get off my lawn.
This fire in my head got me on edge. I'm going.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now.
Welcome to the Dialed Podcast. This is the Evanisode. Is that good? Can we pronounce it that way? We're going to pronounce it that way.
The Evanisode.
I thought it was the Luddite.
To my left, we have Lance Hepler.
It's Lance Romance in the house right here for your listening pleasure. I've decided this week that I'm going to be a vegan.
A vegan?
Vegan.
Or vegan. Okay, yeah.
Vegan. But I'm also going to eat chicken and some fish.
Okay.
And beef. I do like beef. And pork because bacon's good.
But no eggs. No eggs, though.
I'm kidding.
To his left, Jake Von During.
Hello, kids. How are you?
And to his left, to my right, on the other side of the table, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Lance, would you like to introduce our special guest here as well?
Oh, we do have a special guest.
A very special guest.
We have a live studio audience today. We've got how old are you? 21? My 21-year-old daughter.
That's an important birthday. You should probably know that.
No. When your kids are in their 20s, you can lose count. It's official.
She's about to turn 22, I think, right?
How about you share your mic with her, Evan, so she can say hi?
Come over here. This is my daughter, Kelty Hepler. Kelty, say hi to the whole world.
Hello, world. What's up?
She seems very talented. How did you create that? That doesn't make any sense.
It's all from my wife. It's not from me. It's from my wife.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do you have to share with us, Kelty?
I do film. That's what I'm studying, film at school.
Kelty's home from school for a couple weeks, and so she got home a couple days ago, and she decided to tag along today to watch us record the Dialed Podcast today.
Uh-oh.
And I'm
So
taking
exciting.
some behind-the-scene photos.
Yes,
so.
she's going to take some photos.
I'd imagine as a 21-year-old, this has got to be exciting, right?
Let's listen to an hour and a half of
to your
cycling
dad and his
talk.
friends talk about bikes.
So, Kelty, I've seen some of your videos, and they're excellent. They're really well put together.
Wow.
Like I think you did one on like rafting, maybe.
I remember
I
this
did a
one.
documentary. I
Super
actually
cool.
directed that
Yeah,
one.
that was really cool.
Yes.
And just I feel like you make really good films. I'm
Wow.
super impressed.
And you have a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken.
I do have a YouTube channel, yes.
Why don't you tell the folks what that
Plug
YouTube channel
it.
might be? Plug it.
Yes, so it's Kelty Hepler. If you just look up my name on YouTube, KeltyHeppler, and my account will come up. And I have a couple of little things I've edited. That's the thing I'm most proud of, though, is my documentary. I did it on rafting in Moab because I actually worked there in the summer. So
That's a tough job to beat. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
gosh,
know,
that's a
right?
tough job
So
to beat.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes for nice cinematography too. Just having all the
It's
desert
so
scape.
beautiful there. It's unreal. So
Nice.
yeah, it was super fun.
And then are you on Instagram anywhere or any of
I
that?
am on Instagram. I'm at kheppy.
Okay, happy. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Is your
L Happy? Is that what your Lance is when you change your Instagram name?
is your Instagram account better than your dad's?
I mean, I don't know what to say there.
Oh, that's going to be
His
a
is
hot seat
pretty.
question.
Yeah,
Let's put her on the spot.
I'm going to have to look on
they're
that on my phone.
different.
They're different. Okay. Less biking on yours.
Less biking.
She has a photography Instagram account.
do,
which
actually.
Is,
Oh,
which
cool.
is really good because Kelty's
you.
kind of she's traveled all over the world a little bit already as a almost 22-year-old.
We have heard of your exploits. Yes.
Oh wow.
That's
So-
awesome.
Yeah, so
That is
she's
cool.
got a photography account that is just
Yes,
fantastic.
actually, Kelty Hepler Photography. That's
Nice.
my photography account. It's I go to that one, not the other one. That one's way better.
Okay.
That's your
check it out.
celebrity Instagram.
Yeah,
There you go.
celebrity Instagram. Look it up.
Cool.
But yeah.
Awesome,
All right.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Now on much more boring notes, let's backpedal, the four of us. Let's start to my right, Matt.
Sure. Okay, I don't have a huge amount of backpedaling to do. I've been swimming a good bit. I think I swam 6 times last week.
God, you're killing
Which
it in
is
the pool
good,
right now.
and I've had some really solid workouts.
Matt's got goggle face right now.
He does. Yeah.
That's
He just got out of the pool.
Even before I walked in the door, Lance was like, "You came from the pool, didn't you? You got goggle,
You
the
smell like
raccoon
chlorine."
eyes,
Yeah.
you reek of chlorine." Swimming a lot. Biking's going okay. The best news I have is that
Yes.
I ran 8 miles.
That's what I'm talking about.
I ran 8 miles on the trail yesterday, and it was glorious.
Yes.
Is it still glorious today? Is it still
I'm sore, but not in the
Nice.
bad places like
Good.
the Achilles ankle area. So,
good?
Very
So
good.
thus begins the build for Whistler now.
No, I mean, thus begins like the let's be patient and go slow. Like not do anything crazy.
Let's not
but-
get re-injured.
Yeah. Just slow stuff. And I mean, I'll be traveling next week in Alabama, and I'm hoping just to do a lot of little runs because I won't be able to bike, and swimming will be a little bit trickier to figure out as well. So, I don't plan ahead. I don't I don't find pools or look at Strava segments and plan ahead when I travel. I just go and show up.
That's
All right, Jake.
Just another typical week. Saw you for physical therapy.
Yep.
Got buried even more in work. I went from being like 2 weeks behind to about 4 weeks behind. That's always fun. Over board meeting and I got dialed. We got us connected with GoPro. I'm super excited
that's
about
cool.
that.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
I did
Yes.
see that.
That's
That's
good
cool.
news.
Yeah.
A little bit too late.
Exactly. For all 3 of us sitting here, we all
Three of us all bought new
Full pop.
GoPros.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is we're connected now. So, and then I went to the VBC, the Vancouver Bicycle Club. I went to their Christmas party, which was kind of neat to see a bunch of people there
How
for
was
that.
that?
That
That's
was
a
fun.
cool group. I feel like we don't interact with them as much as we should. I
Yeah.
feel like that. I would like to ride with them occasionally.
Great people, great party, a lot of fun. Got to meet some new people, so that was a nice little almost cap to the weekend. But the cool thing was I finished my first 12-week training block. So I finished the full 12-week FTP Builder program with my extra credit of doing our team rides, and I feel pretty good.
Now he is officially faster than everybody
yeah.
at the stable.
yeah.
Good job.
That's
Yeah.
really quite-
It
I
was
wouldn't
short-lived,
say
guys.
that.
It was nice. It was nice while it lasted.
Did you do an FTP test near
Not
the
yet.
end? Are you going to do that in the next couple
I
days?
probably will, to be honest with you.
Just to see.
Yeah, I did a ride on, it was the week 12, day 4 ride was pretty stinking hard. And I got through it with my increased FTP that I've been slowly creeping up over
Yeah.
the course of time. I think I have it set to 335 watts, but I got through that and there was more there. And then I went and did a ride, and I was kind of sore from that actually when I woke up yesterday. Went on and did kind of like a ride just to see how it felt. It was just like they call it like a free ride. Just go ride with like whomever, ride however you feel. So I just wanted to lay down a good hour. And I averaged, I think it was like 24.5 miles an hour, and my watts were pretty high too. I'm like, okay, that's a good sign
That's
coming
decent.
off of
Yeah,
a day
recovering.
prior that was pretty tough. So I'm kind of excited to
Jake.
see everything round into shape here. I'll probably aim to do an FTP test though, maybe next week. I just came off of recovery and I've got like a half of a week of training in, so I might get a couple other stuff to set it up so that I can get a good valid number.
Yeah, I was thinking you were doing a recovery week. Is that last week or
That was
it the
last
week
week.
before?
It was, well, this past week it kind of fell in a weird place because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
fell at a workout and I'm like, all right, I think it was like on a Wednesday or Thursday. I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and
Time
start this little
to
recovery
rest.
block. And so I did it for, I think it was 5 or 6 days.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll
good news, dude.
We'll see how it comes along.
That's really good news.
And in other news, the time trial bike hanging over on the wall over there is slowly coming together.
Every time I come in, I'm like, all right, something new about this.
Yep.
It's got the drops.
Yeah.
Are set in place.
Yeah,
So-
it's on pause right now until the stuff from Shimano shows up. Once that comes in, it'll get put together pretty quickly, and I'll actually integrate that into my weekly training program. So I'll hopefully start spending at least one day a week training on that, getting acclimated to being in that
Yep.
position,
Yep.
which is going to take a little bit of time, especially with my shoulder.
Yeah, with the shoulder.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So
Yeah.
I have a question for you though.
Yes.
When you go on to Zwift and you're riding on your kicker core that you've
Yes.
been riding on for a while, do you have any other power source on there that you ever look at to?
Double check numbers.
Yeah.
Funny that you should say that. I almost never do. I I have the Garmin Vector pedals.
Yeah.
That I don't even pay attention to because
Yep.
I am using Bluetooth that does not come off of the old Vector pedals.
Sure.
So that's connected to the kicker core is kicking out Bluetooth to the iPad that I'm using for Zwift, and I'm just looking at those numbers and relying on them. But I don't know. I think it was Saturday. I was struggling through a workout.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to check these numbers. So I used my watch because my watch will do Ant Plus.
Yeah.
Check the Garmin pedals. And unfortunately, they might have been a touch off. The numbers might have been a touch off, but they were tracking okay. It was just the fact that I am
so you were
slow. And out
you
of
were pretty
shape.
close to having
close.
balance there between what
Yeah.
you were getting. Okay.
Yeah, and I do try to calibrate pretty regularly.
I'm in the same boat. I calibrate consistently.
Yeah.
I do spin downs on the Wahoo once a week, and
Yep.
I calibrate the Garmin Vectors pretty regularly.
What do you
as
see
well.
about 10-watt difference?
I was like, well, okay. So when I first looked, it was like 20 to 25 watt difference.
Ooh,
I'm like,
that's a lot.
that's a lot.
I'm seeing like 8 maybe.
So
somewhere
I
in
was
that
putting out
range.
more watts were being registered on my Garmin Vector pedals, and then I did the calibration on the Wahoo, and then it came closer together. So the difference was about 10 to 15 watts, but still, that's
still a lot.
when you're trying to hold like a set,
Yep.
like and you're at
That's-
330 watts, and you've got to hold that for 2 minutes.
Yep.
And you go and you look at your Vector pedals, because I'm like, this feels harder than 330 watts, and in
Yeah.
actuality, if your Garmin Vector pedals are telling you putting out 340 watts, which one's correct? Which one? I mean, one of them's making me hurt a lot
it's-
worse. But
I wouldn't think of it like that. My recommendation would be like maybe pay a little closer attention to the Vector pedals because that's what you're going to be racing with.
that's a very true and valid point there too. So
Because I think what I've heard is that the kicker stuff does tend to be, 10 watts less than what your, typical, power tap or Garmin Vector pedals or
But
whatever
then
it is.
also you can even look, I mean, once you're going outside, your difference in indoor to outdoor watts
Yeah.
is
Right.
pretty
You can have that
significant.
too.
I mean, I've heard numbers, people say it's a 30, 40 watt difference.
yeah.
But
So here's another question for you though. When you go on to like Zwift and you want to do a bike race, and it's basically pulling your power numbers from the kicker, you can opt to actually have the power numbers be derived from your power meter.
Sure.
So if I go and I use my Vector pedals and all of a sudden I'm getting an extra 15, 20, 25 watts, that's going to give me better performance on there.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I would say pick something and stick with it.
yeah.
If yes, in a race scenario, you'll have that kind of extra bump by using the pedals, but I think a lot of the times we're using Zwift to get the workout in.
Right.
90. Well, actually, I'd say about 98% of the time I'm using it for the workout,
And we just need consistency, right?
And
Like
the
your
only
numbers need
time
to be
I ever
consistent.
use Zwift for racing is when we're doing our team ride, and there's always a hot section, and it's just like it's an unofficial like, hey, let's go beat each other up kind of thing.
Right.
But these guys are out there doing these races. I mean, is there that big of a disparity between all of the different power meter sources and how people are rating? And like, so
the place to look would be DCRainmaker.com. He reviews them, and he'll always do like an in-depth kind of graphing of all the details, and he'll usually run about 4 or 5 power meters on his bike per each ride that he does, so he can graph the
compare
differences.
the differences.
Yeah, and so he has special equipment to where he can record that many power meters at the same time, and so you can see like if one's. A lot of what he would probably suggest is like if they're consistent, like you push hard on the pedal and they both go up the same amount, then that's fine. If they're off a little bit, like number wise, numerically, that's not that big.
and I've seen those reports. I'm just kind of
Right,
curious,
I
like
know.
for people
But
that are racing online. I mean, that almost seems unfair. That's kind of what my point is. Sorry for this massive tangent here. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research and we can talk about it another time. But
so here's the thing: any of that racing stuff can be manipulated, like.
Weight wise, you can weight dope
You
through
can
those.
weight
you can,
dope, but there's so many other ways to do it. Like I could easily run something in between my pedals. So you can take a computer and say, okay, I want my pedals to connect to this computer A, and then have computer A kick out power data, to computer B that's actually running Zwift, right? So if I wanted to do that, like this would be like a man in the middle kind of thing. What you could do is just be like, take whatever numbers I'm putting out and add 30%.
I was putting
If
to
you
an
want
algorithm
to
or
win
something.
or cheat to win, like you can do it.
Yeah.
But they have things in place to try to figure this stuff out. Like, hey, if you go ride in a race or whatever it is, and you can't come anywhere close to this stuff, they will flag you eventually, and they'll say this person is cheating or breaking the rules. Yeah. And then they have the real tournaments where there's money involved. That stuff is you're on their equipment, right? You're doing
the CRV world.
the CRV world, and they do those in-house usually.
They do those at
indoor
like
facilities.
velodromes usually.
Yeah, velodromes and stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, nothing beats racing outside. So yeah.
I was about to say, in pure cycling form, there's always going to be people cheating.
It's fun.
So.
It's fun though, and I can see where it has benefit. But definitely racing outside, that's the great equalizer right there. Yeah. Your weight is what your weight is.
Can't
and your power
lie.
is what
Can't
your power
lie
is.
going up a hill on a road
Exactly.
bike.
Right.
All right. Sorry for the tangent there. Moving on.
Lance, your back pedal.
My back pedal.
Mm-hmm.
My week was fantastic.
I have so many questions.
You have
go,
questions.
Go. Yes.
I actually put in 15 hours this last week.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, almost 290 miles again last week. So.
See, if you count triathlon and all my sports, I'm still less than. But I'm
But you put
getting
all that
closer.
swimming in.
I'm getting closer. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did a ride out to Multnomah Falls solo.
I saw the
this
pictures from
week.
that.
Saw the little video made for that too. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that was the thing. I've been playing with this new GoPro that I got, and I've been making these little videos on some of my travels.
Did you do time lapse on that one? What did you do?
Yeah, it's called Time Warp.
Time warp. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a mini movie. I'm just messing around
Yeah,
with it
absolutely.
to see what it looks cool and what doesn't, and
then
what camera angles look
Did you
good.
do?
and
Did
what
you do?
don't.
Yeah. Did you do time warp on the way out and then stop and take some pictures and then do time warp on the way
Yep.
back? Okay.
Yeah.
How is battery life?
The batteries only last about an hour.
Did you use
I
multiple
found.
on that ride?
I took 2 batteries with me.
It only takes you about 30 minutes to do that 8 miles, right? So
It's
at your speed,
At my
time warp,
speed, something
time
like
warp
that.
speed.
Yeah, you can do a pretty long stretch, and it's like only 30 seconds in time warp or something, and it smooths it out pretty good. So it's a fun little thing to play with. It's just trying to decide: do I have it on my chest? Do I have it on my front handlebars? Do I have it on my seat stay on the back?
All of them.
Yeah.
You want
Got to
to
get some more GoPros.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the
I've
key.
been stopping and switching them up. So.
I think that's a good way to do it. Switch it
Yeah.
up because I like the behind the chainstay kind of look.
It's kind of a cool little shot.
Well,
My
yeah,
calves. My calves are
We're gonna
Check me out.
We're gonna do some fun video stuff.
I did notice that with Lance. I was like, is Lance choosing this angle specifically just so he can show off his left calf or whichever side it was on?
It was all covered in. I had leg warmers on anyway.
You
So
did, yeah.
As per our last podcast, the left leg, Lance's
Yeah.
left leg is beefy,
huge.
Yeah.
putting out
He
thousands.
spent a lot of time
watts.
comparing the two calves. He was like,
Yeah.
it's got to be the left one. Has to be
Right.
the left
Well,
one.
listen to our last podcast. We talked about his left only power.
Seriously? Do you put out more power on your left side than your right?
I do, just because my right leg is still crippled a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah. That
It
makes
still
sense.
doesn't work right.
Yep.
But it's like 45%.
Oh, that's not.
So
Yeah.
it's not terrible. But
Nice.
God, that's-
there is a difference.
That's my split, and I don't even have a good excuse. That's just how I developed, I guess.
So Lance, GoPro, that's cool. Any other adventurous purchases?
I did travel to Spokane as well this week, and I picked up the van. I got myself a van. It's parked out in the driveway.
I got to see this.
Oh my gosh,
check
I haven't
it
seen
out.
this
You
yet.
have to see it.
Matt
It's-
checked it out when we were walking in, so I
I gave it a thorough once over, and it is cool.
I am a proud owner of a adventure van, so it's going to be exciting. So
This is awesome.
I'm super pumped for it. I've got some work to do on it, but it's set where I can put 4 or 5 bikes in the back. There's a bed above that. There's a fridge and a microwave. There's a bench seat. It's all. I'm super stoked. Oh yeah, and
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Already ordered the custom graphics for
Oh
it.
my! I am looking right now at a picture of a very sleek looking black van with Lance Romance written on the side. That is so awesome.
Jake wants to wrap it with the big.
You're
Lance
required to
Romance
take that to
graphic.
all races, right?
Oh yeah, it'll go to all the races with me.
I feel like I have to just ride with you for no other reason than just to be in the Lance Romance mobile.
So that was fun. I drove out to Spokane to pick it up, and the guy that I bought it from was really cool. He'd had it for a couple years, and he'd lost his job, and so he needed some cash. He didn't really want to get rid of it. His wife was kind of upset with him that he was actually selling it, but he sold it to me. He really took care of me. It's in great shape. It's 2 years old. It had like 30,000 miles on it, but
Oh, nice.
But it's a 4-wheel drive. It's the Mercedes-Benz 170 high ceiling Sprinter van. So it is fun. My wife and I already slept in it once on the way back. We went and picked up my daughter, and I stopped and rode in the Dalles and Hood River on my way back. So it was.
You're glowing, Lance.
I am.
He's so happy right now.
The whole drive back, I was just like grinning from ear to ear. I'm like, this is the greatest thing for me.
That is so.
So
He's gonna need his little napkin thing to wipe off his forehead. Here he is glowing.
that's right. I got it right here.
What kind of podcasting equipment is in there?
We could. There's room enough. We could all stack up in there.
Yeah,
we could
do a
record
podcast
from
there.
inside the.
We could do like a
Adventure
moving
Van.
That would be
podcast,
awesome.
from like on site during a race weekend. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we
we
might need to look into that. That
We
could be
should
cool.
start to do some more like podcasts on location.
Location race during the spring.
I'll have
yeah.
I have something to talk to you guys about potentially after. We can do it off
Bring
air
it.
or on air, whatever.
I like it.
Good.
So
How about you, Evan?
I vote on air. Okay.
Yeah.
Backpedal.
We'll keep my back pedal short because I was basically gone on and off the last 2 weeks. I am so happy to be back in the Pacific Northwest and not planning on jumping on a plane anytime soon. Oh my god, it was a busy 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the podcast I had missed, I was in Palm Springs for the Ironman 70.3 La Quinta Indian Wells race. Beautiful course. It's absolutely beautiful.
You were Sherpa. You were not.
I was a Sherpa, and it
yes.
was fun being a Sherpa. It really was. So luckily for me, I'm I have an awesome group of people there, so I was able to kind of do a little bit of training while everybody was getting ready for stuff. But just absolutely beautiful weather. Got some sun, but I want to shoot out congratulations to everybody who finished from Dialed.
Yeah.
Big group there. There was a huge group there. It was, Carl, Cassie, Robbie, Mike Beck, Mike Stats, Val and John DeWitts, Dan Piper, Scott Macbeth. They all finished, well.
it's a big group.
Big group.
And they all did well. Like it was.
Everybody
pretty
finished how they wanted to
impressive.
finish. Yeah, absolutely. It was, a couple of their first ones, and it was just cool to see everybody, do what they came out and had trained for. So,
Yep.
Also, they're tough as heck for racing in December because that's just a long season.
Yeah.
That is such a long season racing in December. But did that. That was the exciting part. And then I went to Ohio for a wedding.
Oh.
And
didn't
it
know.
poured rain the entire time. It was like 40 degrees. The wedding was awesome. It was a friend of mine from PT school. But I had a red eye, so I'm a little bit underslept, but chugging along today. On that red eye, there was screaming children behind me, so I did not get to sleep 1 second.
It's a nightmare.
People with their kids.
Long story. I know. Kids are great. The parents are the worst, right?
It gets better. Eventually, they just sit in the sidelines and take photos of you.
Exactly, and get to make fun of you. Good. They go from crying in your arms to making fun of you consistently, right? But got to watch some of Cyclocross Nationals with my dad, which was cool.
That's cool.
Little
watched
shout
a
out
little
here.
of that.
So the guy who won the U23 division, I know Jake has a couple shout outs on the Cyclocross too from the Pacific Northwest, but Spencer Petrov, who won the U23 races for Cannondale's team. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that me and my buddy Kid Henders raced when he was like 14, 15, 16. We raced him pretty consistently as threes. Yeah. This kid on junior gearing kicked our butts. I mean, the kid was unreal at that age. And clearly as he's going to be, there's a good chance this kid will be a, elite national champion here coming up. So he's been competing in Europe and doing very, very well over in Europe too. So exciting stuff from him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So folks, first one, I was really debating on the topics here on how nerdy I wanted to go. So I decided not to go on the physiology of periodization. We're just going to talk about periodization and how you build your off-season training leading into your first couple races. Like your off-season block that leads into, whether that's in the cycling world where you start racing in, end of February around here? Is that one?
Yeah. It's
Jack Frost.
This year will be March 10th. If I'm not
So
mistaken.
first weekend in March.
Yeah.
Okay. And, in triathlon world, which is, some people start their seasons in March.
Yeah.
March, April, usually. When are you starting your season, Matt?
I'm playing around with the idea of, I don't know. There's the potential to do something in April.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I'll do something in April. I don't know if it'll be like a duathlon that's basically, I would say that's like kind of a bit of a kickoff. There is the option to do like a half Ironman in April. I just don't know if I'll be ready to take that on. And I may, I could do it and not necessarily take it extremely seriously, like just go kind of finish and get a good workout in and things like that. But April, I guess things will kind of be kicking off as far as triathlon goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I know we have, Jake and Lance both preparing for a little bit earlier season start than Matt and I. But, Jake's already made it through his 12-week program here, which I know he's, kept up on. But Jake, like in your past cycling lives, like how has your periodization in your off season changed?
It's changed a little bit this year kind of sucked.
We'll take this year out.
And then last year it changed again because I raced cyclocross. So I actually ended up adding another 5 or 6 weeks to the training schedule or the racing schedule that I would have normally been in kind of an off-season mode. But I'm kind of in the mindset too. I don't like going into that off-season mode where it's just base miles, it's all zone 2 stuff and all that stuff. I like to make sure that I do keep some intensity in there because I think that's something that you can maintain as long as you're paying very close attention to your form, and that's basically taking a look at your fitness level and then your fatigue level. So if you notice that the fatigue is not really coming down to where it needs to be, then yes, I'll add in more of that zone 2 stuff or even some of that just active recovery. But I will try and really kind of push it a little bit, find some intensity during the course of the week so that I can get a higher level of fitness and make sure that my watts stay up even higher so that when it comes time to start sharpening up all of that fitness that you have and making it a lot more specific to the racing that you're going to be doing, my season will be kind of built that way. So I'll still be out there kind of kicking my butt a little bit and still mixing it in with the zone 2 stuff. But it's, that's pretty much the way that I've worked my schedule, and it's really important to listen to your body and kind of look at your numbers and pay attention and know your power numbers so that you know when to call an audible or pick things up a little bit or slow things down. So that's what works best for me.
Yeah. And I'd say that's definitely it's interesting because the triathlon world, you don't see this, but I know in the cycling world there's still this old adage of winter base miles.
Right. Yeah.
And I think there's been plenty of new research that has really countered that, I would say, and said that there's no proven benefit to training that way.
Yeah, my gut feeling on that is that people were not willing to do the really hard sprinty type workouts because it's wintertime and it was like ice and snow and whatever else. It's like we're doing winter base.
That's a good point.
We're doing winter base miles because
your heart rate skyrockets
because
anyway.
you're doing it's winter. And and so just try and get as much work in as you can get in because it's winter. And I think now with the kind of, I would say, large increase in indoor cycling, the options really kind of, I would say it allows cyclists to be able to do some of the workouts that they potentially wouldn't have done on icy roads or whatever it is. So
that's a good point.
Your sprint stuff, your kind of those kind of standard workouts where some sort of interval type workout, tempos and different things like that, all types of different stuff. So
and you look at, I think, where a lot of cycling got its training ideology over the last however many years was really the Merckx era. I mean, how Eddie Merckx trained is what a lot of people tried to emulate, and he trained crazy mileage. I mean, just huge mileage. But I know it was during the winter he would do a ton of base miles, and then throughout the year his intensity was racing.
Right.
So 9 months out of the year the guy's racing twice a week. So I mean, why would you even do an interval if you're racing twice a week for 9 months? But during the winter he would say he would go on these massively long rides.
And for me too, like during the course of the season, you're not going to see me out there doing much interval training because that comes from the racing. So like that's where the recovery stuff really starts to come back into play. And just to speak to your point or your question, my rest blocks and my little rest intervals that I will take, the frequency at which those come start to get a lot closer to each other once I get closer to the season. So I'll start taking a recovery block every 3, maybe 4 weeks. Whereas in the off season, when I'm doing more of this building and trying to get myself established for the next quarter of the season, my rest cycles will probably come more like the 5 to 6 week time period. Some people will go even further than that. For me personally, again, paying attention to the fatigue levels is important, and I don't want to push my fatigue past my fitness in the hopes that I'm not going to get into an overtrained situation.
Yeah,
that will be a pain in your butt for a lot of months, and it's hard to recover from those.
Yeah. So speaking of long base miles, Lance,
it's different for me because I just want to ride my bike.
Yeah.
Following a specific training plan has always been difficult for me. Back in my triathlon days, yes, I was very busy with my professional life. I was very busy with my family life. So in order to properly prepare for an Ironman race or a half Ironman race, I had to have a training plan so I knew where to squeeze in all the right workouts so that I didn't go out there and just embarrass myself. But I guess my goals have changed a little bit as I've gotten older because I'm not professional. I don't have grand illusions of winning road bike races.
Although, but you're super competitive.
But I'm super competitive.
Well,
that is
you're going to be racing the 4.5, so you're going to have a chance.
I might have a chance to win some of those, but I guess I'm cautious about following a specific plan. And maybe that's why I don't win some of these races, and that's my reality. Because if I want to go, if the weather's not super cold and I want to go do 75 miles out to the gorge, I just got on my bike and went and did it. I didn't know where it fit into the plan.
But you know what? When you're out riding, there's some days where you're kind of dogging, but you still want to go out there and ride your bike, and you just kind of back off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some days where you feel good and you get after it a little bit more.
Correct.
And it's kind of like you'll attack different sections, not because it's there's an intent to do that because you're following a plan, but you're going based on the way that your body feels. You're still kind of training, you know, that it was the kind of like a fartlek approach. That works really well.
There are countries who base their entire Olympic programs off of fartlek training. Which for anybody who doesn't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, fartlek training is from the running world, specifically that term, and basically, I mean, really
Swedish.
It's Swedish, and what it means.
Speed play.
Run fast when you feel good. Is basically what it means. I mean, to some extent, it's like if you were to go for a fartlek run, you will be varying your effort depending on how you're feeling at that moment. Which to me, and I mean, I know me and Lance have always tossed this around because we're maybe a little bit less numbers based than Jake and Matt at this table. Like, I mean, that's how a ton of, like, I was actually just talking to a friend about this. I'll on my way to the track, if I'm running on the way to the track, I will sometimes decide the track workout I'm doing, like, as I start the track workout.
I'm not going to lie. I do that too on the bike sometimes.
It's you know, like, this is a 5-minute interval. Well, this isn't going to happen. We're going to have to bump this down to 2 to 3 minutes.
There's sometimes you just get a week where I got to get 5 or 6 rides in, and I know that 2 of them have to be this, and I'll follow those to a T. The other ones can kind of be within this certain zone. And I will do that fartlek training quite a bit, and I will use Strava segments as a carrot to push myself a little bit harder. I'll ride around until I feel good, and then I'll go attack that segment, and then I'll go ride around some more to the next one, and then I'll attack that one and just keep going. And I think it works pretty darn well.
I will say that even after saying all that, I have started a training program for the winter.
Attaboy.
Zwift?
It's on Zwift.
Oh,
yeah.
I never thought he would say that.
Well,
who are you?
I'm in this weird spot where, okay, I'm actually starting the winter fairly fit. And how far could I actually push this for the spring and for the summer? And so I'm a little more motivated this year to see how far I can push it.
I'm not trying to put pressure on you here, but if you're training 15 to 20 hours a week of solid riding like we know you're capable of, you're going to win a 4-5 race.
I know, right? That was sarcasm, and you guys did not pick up on it.
I know.
You might win a 4-5 race.
Like, he's gonna win a 4-5. Like, there's of course he's gonna he's gonna go up that first time and be like, wow, nobody's with me.
There's lots of other 4-5s who are just like me who aren't 49 years old.
That's true. They're like 23 years old.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young 4-5s.
So I don't have grand illusions of dominating.
Okay.
I have grand illusions of you dominating. So.
I've got a lot of experience racing in the 4s and the 5s and the 3s, and a very small drop in the 2s, 1-2s. But just looking at you and knowing how you're racing and know how the others are racing in that particular field, you're not a 4, you're not a 5, you're a 3.
Yeah, probably.
And so that said, you're going to have to go out and race with the 4 or 5s. And if you're out there with teammates, which I know you're going to be, you're going to have a very good chance of winning a lot of bicycle races. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And you'll get kicked out of that 4 or 5 pretty quickly.
You guys are putting pressure on me.
No pressure.
As soon as the road, if there's like a 3-mile climb in the middle of these races, I'm going to get dropped.
This is like a couple episodes.
This is why you and me will do some riding together, so that you're not allowed to let go of me on the ascents.
Probably.
Did we had, I don't remember which podcast it was. We were talking about like how many races you were going to win in a row in cyclocross.
Oh, I do remember this. Yeah.
This is like 7, and we were like, "What's the over under? How many can he win?"
Well, that's because your Cat 4 or Cat 3 in cyclocross in my age group is I
more
could
reasonable.
dominate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a Cat 4 anymore. I'm a Cat 2 there, so that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
But my point with I have started this training program, and I use the gravel grinder program
Okay.
on Zwift, and it was actually written by
cool.
they have a gravel grinder program, and it's 10 weeks long is what I picked, and it was actually written by Matt Lieto.
No way.
Hey, there you go.
That's cool.
So
I
which
did
is
not know
kind of
that.
cool. So he put the program together, and the workouts are 3 or 4 a week, and they're roughly an hour long or an hour and a half long. So there's some over.
So you can still go out and bike afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I figured if I did that and I still wanted to go ride or do some things, I could still do that. Case in point, this morning, I got on Zwift and I wanted to do the KISS ride because it's just fun to go 30 miles an hour with 60 other people. And so I'm with this group and we're literally averaging 28 and a half miles an hour. And an hour in, my signal drops on Zwift. And I gapped by 10 seconds. I could not get back on the group.
Yeah.
I like
You went for it.
gassed myself to try to get back on the group, and I couldn't. So I'm like, okay, forget it. So after an hour of riding at my threshold for an hour, I stopped and then restarted and did my workout, did my over-under workout.
This is why Lance can't do Zwift. Lance is never going to be able to like stay disciplined enough with an effort to be like, oh, I want to go fast now.
What was your over under protocol?
It was 2 minutes. So I have my FTP set at 280.
Cheater.
Which I do not believe. The more I look at my FTP numbers, it's probably pretty close. I'm probably
No.
okay. Well,
Let's put an over/under at 3. I bet he's right at 3.
No,
295 3.
I would guess more like 315.
Outdoors,
ding,
yes.
ding, ding, ding.
Outdoor.
Oh man.
I'm with Matt.
320.
Outdoor, I'll say 315, 320.
Yeah.
So the over/under workout I was doing, it was 1 minute at my FTP 280,
Yep.
and then 2 minutes at 240, which is 85%.
But if you're doing a workout before your workout, then I think it's fine to have your FTP set low. If you're like, hey, I'm gonna hit this workout hard, I'm gonna go into it fresh, then
Yeah.
You can adjust that in ride too if you want. You don't have to set it ahead of time.
you can
edge
adjust
that.
it by 10%.
Yeah.
in ride.
In ride, yeah. Yep.
And I was able to complete the workout.
Yeah.
At 280 after riding hard for an hour before
Now,
that.
your last over under, were you suffering at that 285?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I did the last one at like 320.
Yeah,
You
that's
moved it
not
up?
your FTP. That's 280. If you're bumping up your FTP on your last interval of an over/under workout, that's not your FTP.
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm still figuring this stuff out. Obviously, I don't know how to do all this stuff.
It's okay. No big deal.
So, but anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do some periodization. I don't know what I'm
Here's the
getting
thing
ready
with,
for, but
I would say, and this is not me talking down cycling. Cycling, I think, is an easier sport. Since you have done triathlon, it's an easier sport to periodize because you're focusing on one sport. It doesn't break you down musculoskeletally quite as much, well, not nearly as much as running does. So you don't always have to worry about that body adaptation process as well. But you can really build specific training if you follow it to a T. I mean, you do what Jake's doing now, coming off of a massive surgery and 12 weeks out, already dropping everybody on a ride.
Yeah.
So that's...
All right, so Evan, same question for you. What do you think? Like, what's your plan? Like,
So,
what's the start of your season?
It's kind of funny. I'm gonna get scolded by this for friends who have known me for a long time, but this off season, I'm actually going back to how I trained when I was like in my late undergraduate, which is just throw a ton of intensity and volume into an off season program, basically. Which, I know most people are like, oh, well, that's a burnout option. But my fastest races, were actually from massive builds. I race pretty well fatigued.
Yeah.
So I know that for me, going into April and May, Texas and the Chattanooga race I'm doing in May, I've got to be like, I have to have 8 to 12 really, really solid weeks of training going into there.
You'll hit 30 hours or something crazy.
Once or twice I'll hit 30 hours.
Yeah.
It'll be
8 to 12 weeks and no recovery in there.
There will be a recovery, but I'm not planning when yet.
Gotcha.
So this is where I'm kind of going off of because this is how I used to do that is I would as soon as I really know my body well enough to know like right when that recovery week needs to happen.
Yeah, your heart rate's staying suppressed. You can't put out watts. You're fatigued.
You hate
you're tired.
training.
Yeah,
you just
cursing. Yeah,
I'll basically do 6 or 7 weeks hard, and if by that 8th week I hate triathlon, then I take a down week.
Gotcha.
The other thing is like you know, I think all of us should keep in mind like we're not robots. We have family and travel schedules and things like that. Like this next week is going to be a down week for me because I'm traveling and it's Christmas or whatever it is. So I think all of us are going to hit some of these other pieces. I don't know if did your travels slow down training at all? Or?
This last week I maybe got 8 hours. It was completely a down week, and that was fit nicely because now I know this week is starting my next block. But absolutely, I mean, during this time of year, like. This is like when we talked about planning training around the holidays during that podcast when we talked about it. Just build that into your periodization. If you're like, all right, 4 hard weeks, down week is Christmas. Yep. There you go.
And it's okay to take it down a week early or a week late this time of the year too. So
and just for everybody to remember, you know, I think we're in a sport full of anxiety-ridden people when it comes to type A training and all that. And you know, I mean, we're in December. Like,
I know it's so early. But.
There's no reason to be putting together your A game training in December. Like train hard through December, January, February. Because I can promise once February comes around, if you haven't done the solid train, you'll be like, really wish I could go back to December now.
So my training plan, just so you know, isn't geared around that first race on March 10th, which I'm hoping I'll be able to do physiologically, anatomically being able to do. My program is built around being able to keep up with everybody at training camp.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not kidding you. Training camp.
I'm training for training camp, man. Last year we. Like if you didn't come to that thing fit, you got your backside handed to you, something terrible. Yeah. So we're going to be out there. I think we're leaving on February 17th, if my memory serves me correct. And we're going to be out there or down there in Southern California for a full week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm trying to prepare myself for that, and that will be a little bit of an overload principle, if you will, for getting us ready for the start of the season. Coming into that ready to race is going to be the goal. And I do remember you mentioning last year after you had done that you had come back doing more volume than you had ever done before.
Yes. And were really strong coming out of that.
Yeah.
So this is what I never, especially when we're talking about periodization, like I never talk down volume training. I know it's like this big movement now to like discredit volume training. It's like, oh, you can be...
No, there's a value there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you can be a super fast cyclist off 8 hours a week. I'm like, yeah, you can if you have 12 years of really solid cycling built up. But if you are a Cat 5 today, don't read that stuff and think I can be fast off 8 hours a week.
It comes in layers, and layers are years that are, it takes 6, 7, 8 years for people to get to their peak if they're going to go through and consistently and steadily build themselves up, and then they'll find that plateau area. But it takes a lot of years.
Yeah.
So you're correct.
It does. Yeah. It does. But yeah, I think it's just... for anybody saying like, what should my off season look like? It shouldn't. I don't think it should look that different than your race season. Outside of, like you said, rest during the season is more of a focus.
Yeah,
you got to be really careful with how you taper through the season.
And if you're asking yourself, what should my race season or what should my off season look like, and you're not doing much of anything, now's the time to get started. And seriously, I mean, don't wait much longer because then you're going to be putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
Cool.
Matt's swimming his butt off right now.
I typically try to do a swim block in the winter.
See, swimming
for triathlon,
I have no idea what I'm doing with swim training. Like biking and running, I absolutely know how to periodize for the beginning of a season. Swimming, I'm like, I don't know. I just try to swim a lot, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think in the workouts that I do are masters swim workouts or whatever, and so some coaches up there, he doesn't care about which race I have coming up. It's just like, we're gonna swim the workout, and you swim fastish workouts, and they tend to be speed oriented. And then as we get into our season, we'll do more outdoor swimming, and that'll be outdoor open water swimming, and that'll be long intervals, a little bit more geared towards what we're going to do for racing. So hopefully it'll work. We'll see.
Yeah. So, okay. That's anybody else on periodization? This is something we're going to bring up too as we get really close to
I think we should just keep talking about it as we move through these weeks about what we've got going on. I mean, there's not a lot of racing going on, so maybe we can toss that into our back pedal, huh?
And that's kind of what I like about this podcast too, is like clearly none 4 of us are like scared about sharing this information. Like who cares? This is
secrets.
This is fun stuff to share. Like I'm not a fan of people being like, oh, what's your FTP? If you don't mind me asking, as if you're asking like, some person's age. Like it's not an age number. It's just, you're just wondering where they're at.
Yeah. I think FTP is definitely a little bit of a private number in some regards, because it's kind of like how, it's kind of like, Tell me if you're good.
Yeah.
Tell me if you're good.
Are you good at your sport right now?
The answer is no. But I definitely think like.
But you look good.
I hate the people that want to keep their training private. Like there's some magical workout that they only know. They're the only ones that know about it, and it magically makes you faster. Yeah. No.
I love that in the cycling and triathlete magazines. You always read they're like some random pro's magical 20-minute interval workout to be like, oh, so that's how they did it. That's it right there. You do that exact
just do
workout
that.
once a week. There you go. You're a
good.
pro.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So moving on from periodization, which we will definitely be bringing up throughout the season. I wanted to bring this topic up because after Palm Springs, it's so much fun taking apart and putting together bikes after traveling. But it is also an incredibly terrifying thing to do. Because every single year we all hear the stories of like fill in airliner here, broke a frame, did this, did that. So especially for Jake here, because I feel like Jake deals with this a lot. Like, what are your guys' travel tips for like? We'll start with bike box, but then just in general for like training camps and then racing. Obviously, once racing comes around here.
For me personally, I mean, I don't think that I have the most expensive or the nicest bike box, but I have something that I know works. And I do have one like big tip before you get started. I mean, let's move past like the packing and what we put in there, and let's just talk about the TSA because we briefly talked about this.
Yeah.
The place where things generally go sideways is when TSA takes your bag and they need to inspect it. So they're going to open up your bike box or bag or whatever it might be, and then they're going to start pulling things apart, and they're going to be rubbing their little, cloths around there to see if you've got, certain materials that aren't supposed to be on there. The problem that I see that I run into with a lot of people is that when they put the bike box back together, they don't put things back in there correctly, or they don't properly latch the latches, or they will screw something up or put it back in a different order than you put it in there, knowing that it's not going to get hurt the way you put it in there. So what you can do in most airports, I've only had it happen to me one time where I wasn't able to do this. You ask if you can just stand by the side and, let them know ahead of time. I just want to make sure it gets put back together. It's a really expensive bike and I need to make sure that it's not broken. I'm not going to touch, I know. And more times than not, they're not going to give you any grief about that. You can make the little small talk so they don't feel like you're just putting them under a microscope, but be present. Last year, we were going down to Palm Springs for our training camp. We had all of our teammates check their bike bags in. There was about 3 or 4 of the guys that got there before I did. So I'm standing there because I'm not going to just turn up my bike box and head down to the terminal. I always give myself plenty of time to do this as well. I'm watching them put one of the bike boxes back together, which just so happened to be the same bike box that I have, and it was our teammate, Ian Gibson. And they pulled it all apart, and then they went to put the wheels back together, and they were going to stack the wheels directly on top of each other. And he would have basically lost spokes, and it would have actually damaged his frame and done a few other things possibly had I not been standing there. And I said, oh, you might want to make this, and this adjustment. And he's like, oh, okay, thanks. He's like, I just was putting it back together. I'm like, yeah. And told Ian later, I'm like, you can buy me a beer or coffee later on because I just saved your bacon, buddy. But yeah, they're just doing their job. They don't really care, but they don't understand that these are super expensive bikes that are somewhat fragile if you put them together incorrectly. I mean, we beat the crap out of them, but the way that we're riding them, that's what they're meant to do. They're not meant to be stacked on top of each other, then compressed, and then all of a sudden you've got a broken bike and you get to miss out on training camp, or you have to go buy something to rent a bike that's not going to be yours. You don't want to deal with that. Yeah. So just take the extra couple minutes. Get there a little bit earlier if you have to. Ask if you can stay and watch, and usually it's good. You just make it happen, and then you can kind of quietly sit back and see, are they going to find those CO2 cartridges I stashed in there? Yeah.
But there's also when you get to, so let's say you're going to Palm Springs for training camp. When you get to Palm Springs, take your bike box right when you get it off, check it.
Yep.
If there is something broken in there, you go straight up to their counter right there. And you tell them there, so there's no discretionary, you took it out of the airport and then we don't know if you broke it afterwards. There's no lag there. You got to make sure if something is really broken that you address it right there.
Yeah, we had a teammate, Jordan Rickards, who actually had a bike that was damaged. They broke his frame, and he had to go through that whole process, and thankfully it worked out for him, but it was a pain in the butt, and they were trying to kind of push who was responsible off. They wanted the responsibility off of them. They didn't want to have to foot the bill because it was an expensive bike to have to replace. But yeah, what are some of your good tips, Matt?
I don't know. I don't travel with my bike because of this very reason, but underneath the Christmas tree is a bike box. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I want to do some more traveling with a bike a la Lance and kind of, you know, just get to do some more stuff without trying to rent a bike and other things.
I think the safest option is to jump in the Lance Romance mobile
just
and
Get chauffeured around the country by
right.
Lance Romance, huh?
Just stack your bike in the back and I'll drive you.
I think for big races where you're traveling to a race, you know, one small recommendation is like start making a list the week before. You know, don't try to figure it out the night before because you will forget stuff. You know, if you make a list, check it twice. Is there a Christmas song? I don't know, but there's
something
like,
about naughty and nice.
Naughty or nice. Yeah.
but definitely I'm thinking like Ironman races that I've traveled to. It's just, you know, I just have this huge list that I'm like going through, and it's sometimes multiple pages where I'm just like, oh, I hate this, but I can't forget something.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't want to have that race day where you're like, I forgot my flat repair. Like, what's this going to cost me? Like, this is not good.
I think we talked about before, like our pre-race bag, or like the list that we keep before we go to race to make sure that we bring everything. I've got a list that goes right along with that. That's for travel, and it's on my phone, and it doesn't change. And I will only add to it if I come up with some new little thingamajig that I need to bring with me. So it's always good to have a good place. And, you know, if you're making a list, there's a chance that you could forget something. So just keep something like on your phone or in a PDF or a Word doc or something like that you can always go back and reference. So.
I use a Sycon hard case that I've had for a couple years, and it travels really well, and it's not too huge, and I like it, and it's got specific spots where the wheels fit, and you have to deflate your tires to get it in there to fit in the spot where the wheels, which is you should deflate your tires anyway because of depressurization.
The CO2 cartridges.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't take CO2s. You're not supposed to take CO2s. You're not supposed to check those.
That still kind of bewilders me because if you look at the FFA, they've actually said that it is okay for a canister under a certain size for you to transport that, but it's dependent
on the TSA agent
and the airport. Exactly. I'm like, well, you say it's okay and you say it's not. Why can't you guys get together and just follow what the national guideline is? So, sorry, that's a whole another tangent.
But I have loaded up my bike, my wheels, gotten to the new place, and forgot to brought my floor pump. And there's space in there for the floor pump, so then I couldn't pump my tires up because I had to go to a shop.
The great thing about triathlons, though, is then you just get to transition. There's 4 million people with a pump around you.
Pump. Yeah.
So many great things about triathlon, guys.
You know what I've done before? And this is bad, but I give them a lot of business. They take a lot of money from my family. I've gone to Target because I didn't have a bike pump. I bought the bike pump. I used it for the couple days where I was at, and then I took it back and returned it. And it was in perfect condition. It's not like it hurt the pump or anything like that. It was just a free rental. And I'm like, I didn't want to buy the stupid thing because I can't take it back with me.
Take it back. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I'm guilty of doing that a couple times. Sorry, Target. But
Target's
we do
coming
give
after
you guys lots of money. So
So I that's the thing. You've got to stick to your list so you don't forget stuff, you know. So that's my big tip. There has been trips I've taken too. As a matter of fact, a year ago, I went to Hawaii for a week, and I packed my bike with me, and I was not in a good place health-wise or head-wise. I didn't even unpack my bike.
Yeah.
The whole week. I kept thinking, okay, I'll put it together tomorrow and go ride. And I just never did. Me and my wife just did other things, and I took the week off, but I was in a very different headspace a year ago post surgery. Yeah.
What would be the longest time period you would spend off the bike now, Lance?
It was last year. I was off for 5 months.
Well, no, I'm saying like now that you're back. Now that you're like,
have you taken like 2 days off in a row?
I don't think so.
2 days off in a row. It would.
Don't think so.
It wasn't Thanksgiving.
Nope.
Have you had 1 day off?
I've taken days off.
Yeah.
There's been
occasionally.
Maybe 36 hours or 48 hours is the most I've taken off.
Oh my gosh.
One time in the last 8 months. But I am going to the Caribbean for a week. and I'll be scuba diving for the whole week.
Yeah.
I will not have a bike with me. And
You'll find something. I know you,
You
will.
will.
Well,
so
what
what?
are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
do?
jump rope on the back deck.
No,
Well-
rent a cruiser and just hammer that thing around
I'm
the
I'm
boardwalk.
on a liveaboard boat.
What about the stationary?
Oh, you're on a
I'm
boat.
on a liveaboard boat. I'm living on the boat for the whole week.
Okay, who was it? Was it Alan Plank who posted that picture up, or the little video up of the little inflatable pontoon things
Yes,
on the
he
bike?
did. He did.
And you're like, no, but that thing was awesome, man.
It's true.
Oh,
I won't have
Lance is going to find something. Just get back to swimming. Swim.
I could probably swim,
Yeah.
but
Stationary bike though.
do bicycles in the
Yeah.
water, yeah.
They'll have stationary bikes in the workout room.
no, I'm on a
Dive
Yeah,
boat.
like a
I'm on an
dinghy.
18-person liveaboard boat. I'm on a tiny
you're not
little,
I was thinking it was like a
like
cruise.
60-foot boat where we just putz around the islands and we dive 4 times a day.
That's cool.
I actually, I will not ride. I will not do anything aerobic. That whole week, all I'm going to do is dive and eat.
It's gonna be awesome.
Diving is. I mean, there's some workout with diving, right?
No.
No,
Oh really?
I've never been
Not-
like legitimately
Not
diving.
when you're at this level. There's not.
got it.
You-
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you put on 80 pounds worth
Yeah,
of stuff on
getting
your
out
back
of the
and-
water onto the boat's your workout.
Yeah, you walk 10 meters to the back of the boat and jump in the water,
And then you're weightless.
and then you're weightless. So
Are you gonna? Is there seasickness that gonna happen? What's your
I-
over under on throwing up into your?
I will
breathe?
throw up absolutely.
Oh, there you
I
go.
have to take stuff every day.
Just don't take your medicine. That's one way to lose weight.
It's a lot of Dramamine. Yeah.
I'm on the seasickness.
Oh my
diet.
god.
Weight loss.
Gets down to race weight real quick.
Usually the Caribbean isn't too bad. There's not. Yeah, I'm just hoping for decent weather.
I have
But
no
yeah,
idea.
I'll puke. It'll happen.
So, a quick question for you on your bike box. The Scion, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's a soft shell. Correct?
No, I have the hard
Is
shell.
it the full thing? So
I have the full hard
shell.
base hard
Okay,
shell.
that's a good way to go. They make one that's a soft
They
shell
do.
side. I've heard stories about people running into issues with soft shell cases. Do you guys have any experience with that?
I'm scared of them. I
am too.
I know that some people love them, and I'm sure some of them are good, but I've heard enough bad stories that I would not get one.
I don't think I would either. So is the one that you're getting, is it a soft or a
Yeah,
hard?
it's hard.
Hard?
Yeah.
I got to check those out.
But I've heard people say like adding extra styrofoam and things like that around the wheels and things like that does help.
I had extra
Displacement.
styrofoam anyway. Even
you?
when I was
Yep.
using Jake's box, I would put as much styrofoam as I could to that
I've
thing.
got some pretty thick. I actually even went out and bought new styrofoam.
Did
Went
you?
to a place that does the styrofoam and had them cut
Nice.
it exactly. And it's a higher density, so it protects the bike a little bit better. And you have to work a little bit more to get the case shut. But once it's shut, it's not going anywhere, and it's all very well protected. So
Yeah.
But
Good.
now with those boxes too, can you fit a lot of other goodies in there? Or is it
Yeah.
pretty much just the bike?
You can, but if you make your box too heavy, you might. Here's the thing with the Scion and the Sycon box that I've got. It's not too huge, so sometimes airlines will allow it on as baggage instead of a bike box.
Well, here's one of my other tips: fly Alaska Airlines.
Correct.
It's only $25.
$25. If it's a bike box, they only charge $25.
Correct.
Little secret about Alaska, actually. If you classify it as sporting equipment, it is free.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it just goes as one of your bags.
Yep.
Yeah. If it's
Now
not too big.
that's if you haven't checked another bag. So what I do is I'll take 2 bags on me, one for the overhead bin, one underneath the chair,
Yeah.
and bring the bike box and say it's sporting equipment.
Do they ask you what's in the box and you just have to declare it's sporting
Sporting
equipment? You just
Sporting
don't get
equipment.
You just don't get specific with them.
Yeah, you just say
I
it's
did
sporting
not know
I
equipment.
feel like I saw a group of people and they were like, "This is a musical instrument," and they would. I mean, like everyone
Yeah.
knows it's a bike or whatever it was, and they were just like, "Musical instrument, fragile," and
Take
and
out playing the spokes like
they
your
wouldn't have to
Exactly.
just to
Yeah.
avoid the the baggage fee. It was-
Yep.
My
Yeah.
bike box has a picture of a bike on the outside of it, so it's kind of hard.
It's a musical instrument.
Yeah. But see, like if you fly Delta or United, it's like $140 each way.
It's ridiculous.
It's a lot more
I was-
expensive.
I was
so I try to fly
United.
Alaska when
Yeah.
I was United out of Chattanooga. It was $125 both times.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
Also, United. So I flew United over the weekend. I'm sorry if anybody listening to this works for United. Your guys' seats are so small, it's not even real.
And Evan's not a big guy.
I am not a big guy. I had trouble fitting in there. There was a huge guy a couple rows away from me. That man barely fit in the plane.
Oof.
Like, I felt terrible for him. It's a nightmare.
That's tough.
Oh my god.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So packing stuff into those cases, though, you guys can get a fair amount of goodies in there.
Yeah, I try to still keep my whole bike box under 50 pounds.
I think that's one of the caveats, though,
Yeah.
that you have to be under 50 pounds.
So you could easily go over 50 pounds with the weight of the box, the weight of your bike.
Yeah.
You throw in your pedals, your helmet, your
shoes, you're
gear,
guaranteed
your
over
floor
50.
pump.
You're right
You're
there in that
guaranteed over
threshold.
50.
I'm always right there, like plus or minus a pound right at 50.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, but there's room. In the Sycon box, the frame actually suspends in the middle of it. So it's hard to mess it up if you load it right.
Do you have to turn your handlebars?
Yes, I have to. All I do is loosen loosen my handlebars, not the
Stem bolts?
not the stem bolt. Yeah, where the handlebars, they just curl under.
Oh, so you're going to rotate under so they, okay. I
Yep,
see what you're
that's
saying.
all you have to do is just loosen those bolts so it rolls under, and then
Gotcha.
it fits in there beautifully.
Gotcha.
You
It's
take
perfect
off,
for time trial bikes, really.
yeah. You don't have to take off your derailleur hanger, although it's so easy. You should do that because it's too easy to bend derailleur hangers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it fits in good. But there's room for extra helmets and bike pumps and shoes and another set of shoes, and there's lots of room in there for other stuff.
Sounds like a nice box.
I may need to look at this. Yeah, I got to make decisions this offseason.
I want to say, I think I paid like $350 for it,
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Sounds right.
and I'm looking on the website right now, and it's $1,000, and I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm looking at the wrong one or if they
Did you get a
just
winner
jacked
deal,
it
maybe?
up.
Killer deal.
Right. If you're patient and you wait for deals, I think what was it, 45%? I don't know.
It sounded like the deal that they were running on like Black Friday or
Yeah.
Cyber Monday was better than the team deal we get, which is pretty
I
solid.
think
So
the Black Friday deal was 40% off the new stuff and 50% off the sale stuff. And I was like, I guess I ended up getting like an older model because it was so affordable.
I
It
don't
was
know
like
if I'd
it was
want
like
to pay
$300.
$1,000 for a bike box. Oh my gosh!
I know. I think I paid $300 or something.
mechanic come with it to take your bike
That's
apart, put it back
right.
together.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So wait for deals. Be patient.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
going to wait for that.
Yeah,
I'm going to wait a
or
little bit.
use Team Deal or something. It's definitely
Yeah.
expensive to get a bike box.
Travel with lots of zip ties. Those are
yeah.
always handy, and take a lot of shop rags and
Yeah.
use
Yep.
those in the vital parts on your bike and zip tie them. Like you can
Yep.
take your derailleur off and you can bundle it up in a towel, and then you can fold it back up on the chainstay of the bike and zip tie it onto it. And that's a good way to protect the bike. But when you take those towels to protect the bike, you're gonna have some towels to work with when you get down there. You
Yeah.
get some towels to wipe your hands off with and clean your bike up. It's just kind of handy.
Yeah. Yep. All right,
good.
folks. So I think we got time for the hot seat.
Hot seat.
Let's jump into the hot seat.
seat.
Does everybody have a question? It's better if you don't. You got to think of one super quick. Double hot seat.
I'm good. I know. I'm ready.
Is
How
Matt
about you
good?
start us off, Evan?
I'll start us off.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going back to what we were just talking about earlier. I'm not going to put an over-under. I want to hear how many dialed cycling members, cycling or triathlon, who's ever there, will be on the podium at Jack Frost.
Ooh, on the podium?
Yes.
What, for like
Podium
different divisions
dialed,
or like
including
overall?
including all divisions, all people who will be on the podium. How
Ooh.
many?
There's a lot of different divisions in
Yeah, there are.
There
time
are.
trialing here. That's
There's some weird ones where it's like no one shows up and just happens to be some
Eddie
weird age
Merckx
group.
Masters,
Yeah,
4
Eddie
or
Merckx
5.
is-
Yeah.
that one's actually one that's
that's
competitive.
the biggest category.
Yeah.
I think they had close to, or maybe even over 50 people last year in the Eddie category. Can't win that damn thing. 3 years in a row. second
Who's beating
place.
you there?
A couple.
There's
Merrick, there's
yeah,
some studs, yeah.
the Merrick, he's
Pinsky.
one guy that beat me the first
Okay.
and third year, and I can't remember the other guy's name. It was another Cat 2 guy that beat me the second year. And like the cumulative time for all 3 years that they beat me by was like 15 seconds or less.
I remember you
So
saying this,
it's like, it was really
Yeah.
close. So
That's aerodynamics right there.
yeah, but it is what it is. Gosh, how many categories would you say there are, Lance? Because like you'll
20?
like for like
Yeah,
we'll say
that's
like
about right.
masters, you'll have like 40 to 44, and then you have 45 to 49, and then you'll have 50. It's just they keep like breaking it out
And
into more and
moving
more
up
Yeah.
categories.
So you have all those age categories, and then it's like 4 5s. Like I feel like you can race either way, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
Do you remember that last year?
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I'll just race my age, which worked out really well because it was less competitive than like racing 5s or whatever.
There you go.
So
podium for we're gonna say top 3.
Yeah.
we're gonna have a
Yeah.
lot actually.
How many double have? Double dipping too. If somebody gets more than one, that counts as 2.
I'll say 6.
Okay.
I'm
6
gonna go bigger
podiums.
than that.
You
I'm
think
gonna go
so?
bigger than that too. What do you
say
think?
11.
Wow.
Lance?
Because top 3 in 20 plus categories. There's numbers there.
I think it's going to be like 4.
4? Okay.
I'm going to go top. I'll say 12. I want to go one more than Matt. I'll say 12.
There's
Playing the
25.
Price
There's
is Right game.
25
Categories.
categories. 25 categories.
Yeah, there'll be 12.
How many did we have last year? That's the real question.
I don't recall. I just remember that we had 56 people who finished in the points, and we had over 60 people who attended the race.
Yeah.
Points would be for like a top 15 finish.
Okay.
So that's a good question.
I like 12 on that one.
Yeah, it's fun to think that that's not too far away from us, and I'm really hoping that I can go out there and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Jake alone will get 2 or 3.
Podiums?
If he does Mercs and TT.
Well, that would only be 2, but
2. Well, yeah, but would you do?
Is that
Well,
what
yeah,
you're
you're only going to go twice.
Are you thinking about doing it twice?
Depending upon how my fitness is coming around, I might do 2 categories. And depends
That's
on
cool.
the spacing.
I never even thought about doing that.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I am.
So last year we had Chris Hannell on our team who went out on his road bike, and he rode in the
he did the
I think he was in the 4.5s.
4.5s.
So
and
he
then went
rode
back.
he rode the open 4.5s because that gave him the best opportunity, the biggest time gap to come back and do the Eddie class. So he rode in the 4.5s on a road bike against everybody else in all their TT apparel on their TT bikes with their disc wheels
Killed
and
him.
everything, and he got second place.
Yep.
And he was just a beast on there. Then he
If
came
you're
back and
riding
did
a
the
disc
Eddie
wheel.
class, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he got like 4th or 5th place. Was it fourth place? That's a beast effort right there to go lay down 2 efforts that were, I think, sub 30 minutes for 12.3 miles.
Maximum effort, yeah.
29:51 and 29:02.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my memory served me correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a beast out there. So
We had 14 podiums last year.
Wow.
So
Okay.
12 is
Oh.
sounding
Looks
smart.
looks like I may be right
Okay.
here.
Okay, let's run around the table again because
Underestimated.
Because 4 is definitely wrong.
I said 6. I think that
I'm still going top. Whatever you 3 say, I'm just going to add 1.
it really depends on the weather. If the weather's good, they're going to have another huge turnout. We've had a mild winter thus far, so theoretically speaking,
And it got bumped back, right? Because
and
it was
got
the last
bumped-
weekend
It's
in
a week
February.
later this year,
Yeah.
so
Better chance of weather.
gosh,
Who knows?
Lance, you screwed that all up for my brain, man.
Stick with your estimates.
I knew it was a
guys.
lot. I knew it was definitely more than 4
Yeah.
or 5.
So you said 13, Matt said 12. Is that what it was?
I said
he
12, he said
yeah,
11.
12, 11,
Yeah.
6, 4.
All right, I'll say 10.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's more competitive this year. So.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a loser and stick to 4.
You have to stick to what you threw
Look at
out.
this.
All right,
Lance
somebody
isn't
make note
allowed
of
to
that.
like bag it too either. Okay.
Well, it's a Sunday race, so the likelihood of me actually racing it is low.
Well, we're losing a podium right there. So,
Well, I don't know about that.
all right, Matt.
Hot seat question. Are you guys
Hot
ready?
seat.
Name one cycling Christmas gift that can fit in a stocking for our listeners that are thinking about stocking stuffers.
Socks.
Socks, 1 down.
Yeah.
Lance, what you got?
Hand pump?
Hand pump. Oh, I like that. I would, I like to have a hand pump that can fit in the jersey, back of the jersey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got big stockings, but I'm not
A
gonna
time
go
trial
that
bike.
big. No, how about the new GP 5000 tires?
Yeah.
You,
So it just
you could
came out-
squeeze them up real tight
Yeah,
and put
I've
them
got
in
a
there.
case
Yeah.
that are supposed to be showing up here some point in time. But
Yeah, I want to try those. I think I've read a little bit, and it's looking like they're testing pretty well as far as rolling resistance and
was
stuff.
it like
so-
12% faster or something like that?
Yeah. It looks like it's really tight with some of their other TT stuff, but the puncture resistance is a little bit better. So,
Interesting.
yep.
That's
yep.
nice to hear.
Looking forward to trying those things out sometime.
Yep.
All right.
How about you, Matt? What was your one thing?
Oh,
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
what's
what,
Matt's-
not sure what thing about your stocking stuffer.
So I'm gonna post a YouTube video on, I think it's like 4 swimming things, 4 biking things, and 4 running things, and it's 3 different videos. So they're gonna come out like in consecutive days. But you remember the Barfly like 2-in-1? It's like a tire lever / I guess CO2.
Pump, yeah.
It's only the CO2 piece. So I thought that was a nice little tool. I mentioned that in the video. I think it's a good thing. I don't remember. I think what do they call it? The air. Shoot.
I had one and it mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know. But it's like $15. Barfly. You can go to barfly.com, I think, or you can search for Barfly. And it's basically a tire lever and CO2 dispenser combination tool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Definitely would fit in a stocking.
Nice. All right, Jake.
All right. My question is, we've threatened this before. We've talked about it before. Will we ever stream this podcast, and when? When is this going to happen?
We need
As soon as
Kelty.
Lance puts on pants. That's when this is going to happen.
Start wearing pants. Dang it! We just need Kelty to become a regular contributing member.
This is true.
She can sit over here and film for
Production team, yeah.
This is true.
We could use the little GoPro Hero that we have now. We have a thing with GoPro
That's true.
that we could
Yeah.
live stream with their device.
Sponsor us, GoPro.
You could, you
Hello,
can Facebook
GoPro.
live stream with it.
Yeah, I think you can do YouTube as well, if I'm not mistaken.
YouTube's got some live thing now too.
Yeah, they've had
I
that
think
for
they
a
do.
long time. But
Did they do that before Facebook?
Actually, using the
That-
camera though, where
It
you
should
just,
be really simple
Yeah.
to do.
well,
Yeah.
and then I've got my camera, and I've got the my Sony A7 III, and then I've got the cord and all the software. We just haven't ever done it, and I've been so stinking busy and
Yeah.
too many,
You're already
medical
4
appointments.
weeks behind. You said.
I
Jake.
am. I'm seriously 4 weeks behind. I'm trying to get like our sponsorship packet still done. I'm final touches on our new 2019 team kit and getting our juniors program all set up because I could get those kids all dialed in before the start of the new year. I mean, I've just got a bazillion things in my garage. I think I'm not kidding you. I think there are 28 bikes in my garage right now
Oh my
that
God.
I'm working on. So,
That's a lot.
By
it's
the way,
ridiculous.
no, I'm joking. my road bike could use look-see.
I might be having to hire somebody and open up an official space aside from what we have going on over at Movement Revolution. So anyway, we'll talk more about that in the future.
Nice.
Sounds good.
All right, Lance.
Hot seat.
Oh, you guys didn't answer my question.
Oh my God, yeah, we did not answer the question. Hold on.
Are we going to do
ignored
this
it.
and win?
I mean, I think I would love to do that.
I'm gonna
Anyone
say mid-January. That's my
like when?
guess
Okay.
as to when we can
We
do
hook
it.
up,
New Year.
one of the GoPro 7s and just live stream it. We can just see how it goes, see who jumps on. Actually, we have several of the
That's true.
the GoPro 7s
Between us,
amongst us.
3 of them, yeah.
And so
could have-
we could all 3 start live from different angles, and people could actually pick which angle they want to watch.
Be a competition to just get more
the
viewers.
Lance
Yeah.
cam
Should
just
we-
zoomed in just on
that's
Lance's
right.
face.
Should we use our chest straps and like all of it? Do you want to view POV, like point of view from Lance?
That's right.
Like what kind of view do you want to see?
That's funny.
Yep.
You can have like the what was that? The Brady Bunch, like the
Oh.
panels. We could have a camera.
We could put one on the cat and just let the cat loose in the room too. So just like random bits of just us.
How about our first podcast back in January? Do you think we can make that happen?
New Year's
try.
resolution.
And we
Try.
could just say that there's no expectations. We'll just have a camera set up
Yeah.
just to see how it goes.
That's a
our
great
first
idea.
one. I think if we put it on a calendar, just like we do with our events, and just say we're going to do it then we'll do it. So
Yeah.
can we officially say that we will live stream our first podcast in January of 2019?
Officially.
January
Should it be
7th.
it would be January 7th. Okay.
January 7th.
Matt, will you be in town?
I think so.
I will definitely be in town.
Okay,
So.
and then we should try it. We should
I'll
definitely
be
go
in
for it.
town, and I'll be celebrating because my kids will be back to school finally.
Oh, thank
They
God.
go back to school late this year.
Okay.
Party time.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Deal.
Moving on. Sorry.
All right. My hot seat question. Where should I take my first adventure with the new van?
Dayton, Ohio. No,
No.
I'm joking. Wrong. Okay.
Crater Lake.
Crater
Ooh.
Lake.
How's the weather there this time of year? Do they keep the roads open? Is it snowed in or?
They keep the road open to the lodge. That's it.
Okay.
The rim road is closed.
Gotcha.
He's got to go south. I was about to
Is
say
it-
BC, but
Is
you
it
got to go south.
closed to your bike?
If there's no, it's not.
Right.
You can
So-
ride around it if there's no snow on
Well,
it. But
you
there'll
can
be
ride around
snow
it if
on
there.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But don't you have a bike for that?
I probably do.
Is time a factor? I mean, is there a
Yeah.
time frame? I mean,
Distance. What kind of distance
No,
can you go?
no, no restrictions.
I say redwoods. I think you need to go to the redwoods
Ooh,
this time of year.
redwoods.
A little bit warmer.
down to Marin County.
I
Yeah.
don't think
area?
it's not going to be too much warmer than here.
You don't think so?
Being close to the ocean and NorCal still gets some pretty
How
nasty
cold?
weather.
How cold would it be there right now?
It's not going to be too much warmer than here. It might be like low 50s, upper 40s. It might be like 5-10 degrees warmer, but the
Okay.
weather's probably going to be
Yeah,
little bit.
probably.
just about the same.
Yeah.
God, I don't know, man. Take it down to Mexico.
Mexico.
Tijuana. There you go.
That could be fun.
That could be interesting.
I don't know. Well, gosh, maybe you don't want to ride on the roads with those guys down there. I'm thinking. I had my head like gravel roads and stuff like that because you always see like dirt roads and stuff like that down there. So there could be some gravel riding down there.
Some fun stuff.
You could do a pre-training camp at altitude down south sort of deal, where you go to like Arizona, you get to altitude in Arizona.
So like
I could plug in some routes for our training camp and send you down there to scout them all out, and we can use those to develop all of our Strava segment, or not segments, but we make segments if you want, but our routes for the actual ride that we're going to do.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yep.
So
Mammoth Lakes
around
I could pre-ride the whole training camp.
You can GoPro everything so that we can take your GoPro and
there-
you can get some video on everything so
there
we
you
know what
go.
to expect. And yeah, that could be fun.
Okay.
And we could put together a little promo video for it. Yeah.
Maybe I could figure that out.
Sweet.
That'd be a whole lot better than going somewhere cold.
I could probably do it in February, beginning of February.
Do it just
So you
the
drive
week,
down
just
there,
do,
then
end of the
would you
week.
just
stay
do
down there?
back-to-back training camp weeks.
Or the end of January. That's another possibility.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to go down like mid-January, would you just stay down there and wait
I
for us to
might.
arrive? Or
Yeah.
Man, I wish I
If
could.
you ride
bum a ride
back-to-back
with you.
30-hour weeks, you're going to come back in fitness that like nobody's going to be touching. It's gonna,
Are you talking about like a normal week for Lance?
I know, seriously. This is, I don't know how I'm going to do in the 4-5 category.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do.
How many hours a week do those guys usually train?
Yeah. All those 4 or 5 guys are putting in 60 hours.
They
That's
are.
what
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, folks. So, is there anything else? This is the one last thing part, because I know we just talked about a lot, but if there's anything else that Matt needs to get out, you're going
No.
first.
I don't have a lot to say. Thanks for all of the people that are tuning into the podcast. It's just, it's been super cool. I love listening to the podcast when I'm not on the podcast, and I really enjoy coming here in the afternoon and rolling through this with these guys. It's definitely like the highlight of my week. So thank you guys for giving us an excuse to sit here and goof off and go through the discussions with these things. So
Absolutely. Jake?
I just wanted to. Oh, I'm going to say two last things.
I'm sorry. That breaks the rules of one last thing.
Just congratulations to all the folks here in the Pacific Northwest who went out to the Cyclocross National Championships out in Louisville.
Yeah.
I believe we had 3 people finish and win their respective categories in
Fantastic.
our national champs. So
Yeah.
Muddy day, too.
Muddy day.
Muddy
So-
day.
So that was really cool. And then another big shout out to our own Hayden Weirman, who was out there racing. Unfortunately, had a shoe break on him. The boa on his shoe broke, and it was a brand new pair of shoes, so that's kind of a bummer. But somehow, some way, it broke, and he, in the first lap, was basically forced to have to walk up stuff, and his foot was coming out as he was pedaling. So kind of a bummer for him. But talking to his dad, who's a super modest guy, said that he probably would have finished in the top 15. Knowing Hayden and that killer instinct that he has, despite his demeanor not being killer instinct at all, he's the nicest kid you'll ever meet in your life. I probably would have guessed him to maybe finish in the top 10 because the kid is just an absolute beast and has really come into his own this year. So great job, Hayden. Great season. And next year they're going to have their hands full with you. You're going to be a beast out there. And
He's got plenty of good years in front of him. Yeah,
for sure.
So, and then my other little thing is I just want to thank you guys for hosting the last 3 weeks. This has been fun. Just sitting back and watching you guys do your thing. So
struggle.
From the hosting part to coming up with the show notes and the editing and the intros and all that stuff is just kind of neat. So we might have to keep this as a somewhat regular thing. We'll have you guys jump in and play captain.
There you go.
I like it.
Fun stuff.
I got nothing to share. I think
Seriously?
You've already heard too much from me already.
We can just post the Lance Romance mobile. That'll be your one last thing. We're gonna have to get a picture of that up.
Picture of it up, yeah. It'll be fun.
My one last thing. Thank you guys for letting me host. It is a blast being back in the Pacific Northwest. Every single time I'm away, I come back here, and I'm just excited to come back home. Yeah. It really has become home for me over the last 2 years. So excited for another year. We'll go through the rainy season. It hasn't even been that bad. Oh, God. No, hold on. Knocking on wood. I was about to say it hasn't been that bad so far.
We're going to get
There's
hit
a
by
storm coming tonight.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There's like aerial flood warnings everywhere. Yeah, we're supposed to get like flooding torrential rain.
Yes.
So
Thought I left that in Ohio. I brought it back with me. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Well, that is all. I'm going to have Jake do the social media plugs because anybody who listens to this consistently would know that this would be the part that I would screw up. I know it's at. Let me see how much I can get right.
To the fire
Here
right
we
here,
go.
buddy.
Okay, so the emails are our names at dialedpodcast.com. Yeah, .com. The Instagram is, this is the one I'm going to mess up. Dialed _ the dialed _ podcast.
No.
Go ahead, take that one. Take
Get
the
off
Instagram.
my lawn with your technologies, and your social medias.
The Gram Insta and the Chapsnat is
The book face is.
the book face is
It's all just at Dial Podcast.
at Dial Podcast.
Yeah.
See, that was easy.
Nailed it.
The book face, I know.
And,
Yeah,
and
it's
on
simple.
emails, any website address, you just have to get close and it'll work.
Yeah,
Remember,
that's how it
the
works.
Key.
Yeah.
Yes. Technology.
Is that how it works?
Technology.
You can't joke with me on that.
It's a
I would
series
actually
of
believe you.
twos.
Also, on a side note, I am actually trying to start my own Instagram now,
Oh.
but I haven't figured out how to get pictures on there yet. But don't worry, I'll get back to you guys next Monday, and
The
we'll
one
see.
thing it does.
We'll see how that progresses so
Nailed
far.
it.
I have one picture on there right now. I have no idea. how
What's
to
your
get the rest.
handle?
I've got. Hold on. Give me like 4 seconds here.
Yeah. Okay.
It was something pretty specific, because I thought that's how it was supposed to work.
Insert
not-
Jeopardy theme
E
song.
price _ try _ DPT. So I tried to have triathlon
there
with the
you go.
PT in there,
Boom.
Nice.
I am following you.
I have one whole picture on there right
You
now.
now have 24 followers.
Wow, big time.
Congratulations.
I didn't
And
know
one
that.
post.
He's going to have.
And,
more-
and the
yeah.
one post I think is the automatic
post.
picture it puts up. So
Nice. All right.
I'll figure this out. That's my New Year resolution, is to know what Instagram is.
Technology.
It'll take me an entire year, but
You're worse than my parents.
I've been told that by many people now. I've been told that by people in their 60s.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So that's us signing off, folks. It was a pleasure. Listen next time, please. We enjoy all of you. You're all great. Bye for now.